Are you a game master who's guiding a party over sacred mountains, a mystic desert, or a divine jungle? Or maybe you're looking for a adventure hook that will get your party interacting with the divine forces in your homebrew world. Well, if so, I might have a product you want to check out. This is my review of Lands of Legends Holy. Let's roll it. Before I begin, I do want to point out, full disclaimer, I did receive a review copy of this product in exchange for my unbiased review. So what you have here in this video are my thoughts. I'm gaining nothing from it except for the product that I was given to review. Also, just to let you know, I did a written review of another product in this series over on my blog. I'll put that link in the description below. You can read it whenever you're able. So to start out, let's describe what the Lands of Legends series is. These books contain a list of different role tables. There's 10 items in each, and they're linked or keyed to specific biomes within your world, like deserts and jungles and mountains and plains. The write-ups are mostly system agnostic, although I did notice in this particular product, Holy, that there are references to more old school saving throw types like paralysis or spells or breath. So that's just something to keep in mind as you move forward. But really, there's no reason why you couldn't use what's in these products in any system that you wanted to, as long as it's fantasy-based, that is. Each book in the series is sold as a pair. So one cover opens up to the Areas product, which describes all the adventure hooks that you can use to jumpstart the party into a new direction. And then if you flip it over and invert it, so turn it 180 degrees, you'll get the Encounters product, and that is all the random encounters for the different biomes that are there. Pretty neat way of doing things, and so when you're purchasing this, keep in mind that you are getting two products for the price of one. Because the products are mostly system agnostic, do not expect to go into them seeing things like maps or monster stat blocks and that sort of thing. Really, these are jump starts for the imagination, so a GM can take it from there and apply them in whatever way is applicable for their campaign or their homebrew world. And really, that's enough for me. The adventure hooks and encounters that exist in the Lands of Legends product line, and Holy is no exception, are imaginative, they're diverse, and oftentimes they'll contain little Easter eggs that are nods to earlier D&D modules or pop culture references. I find this enjoyable. If I had one critique of the encounters, it's that some of the positive outcomes tend to overpower the characters a little bit because there's permanent changes to things like ability scores. In old school gaming, this is not really something you're looking for. In 5e, it's probably one of my critiques is that your character just bulks up really, really, really fast. Because of this, I'd probably use the encounters that are listed in Holy with a little bit of trepidation. I wouldn't use them all the time, but I'd throw them out if I really want the characters to be able to bulk up to get over a specific obstacle. It's not a major thing, but it's just something I keep my eye out. I don't want to overpower the party. It makes my job harder as a GM to make the game challenging. And even with that critique, there's some great areas and encounters that are included in this set, which grant some amazing opportunities from really fun roleplay. Where Lands of Legends Holy falls down for me, unfortunately, is when it comes to the design. Products that are like this series would benefit from things like an introductory essay where the author is able to communicate a little bit of why they've created the product, as well as suggest some ways that this might best be used for a GM in their own campaign. Their absence here is really felt. Also, at least in the PDF version of the product, there's no table of contents, so trying to find where the biomes are in each of the two products can be a little bit tedious if you're trying to find jungles and you don't know which page it's on. Table of contents would really go a long way here. But where Lands of Legends Holy really collapses is in the actual presentation of the volume. The layout choices just make no sense to me. And I hesitate to even bring this up because aesthetic is really a matter of subjective appreciation. And I think I kind of know what type of design they were going for. It kind of reminds me of a 80s or 90s underground music zine. That's the vibe I get from it. But for me, it just doesn't work. The font that's used for the titles and the headers, and also I think for the introductory text for each of the entries, is so busy it's almost unreadable. Literally looking at it gives me a headache. This is something I brought up in my written review of another Lands of Legends product, Mundane, where I said the title font was difficult to read. It was busy, gave me a headache. Well, in Holy, the font that they use takes that issue and makes it a whole lot worse. Literally looking at it to try to decipher what it's saying gives me a headache and just makes my head spin. Also, the color scheme that's used is extremely high contrast. It's yellow on black or black on yellow, and it's just overpowering for the eyes. You can actually turn these off if you're using a reader like Adobe Acrobat. You can turn layers off to get a much more clear presentation of the material. But if you have to do that, there's something broken with the design itself. Also, unlike in my previous review where the Mundane Lands of Legends was set up in a very clear table with 5 entries on each page for a double page spread, in Holy, everything's chaotic. The elements are differentiated not because they're in a table, but because they use the reverse contrast for whatever they're going for in that particular product. So if the base is black text on yellow inside the table, the alternating rows will just have black highlight with yellow text. What it ends up being is just this explosion of this very jarring contrast between entries. It makes it very difficult to read. And I decided that I was going to try to read these products from front to back cover when I actually got the review copy in. And I had to do that in several different settings because it just got too much. Literally, there were spots in front of my eyes. And probably the thing that most suffers from this chaotic presentation is the artwork. In my review of the Mundane areas and encounters, I mentioned that the artwork was minimalist, but was really pretty, and it fit the aesthetic perfectly. But as I was reading through the Holy products, I got about a third of the way in, and my brain went back and wondered, was there even any artwork included? So I literally went back to the front of the book and flipped through, and sure enough, there was artwork for each one of the areas in that 2-page spread. But because the presentation is so busy and chaotic and your eyes don't know where to look, I literally had not acknowledged it, which is a shame because some of this artwork that's in this book is really holding on to that minimalistic feel, but is gorgeous. And I just didn't see it because of the way it was presented. Lands of Legend Holy is on sale right now at DriveThruRPG. It's a PDF only at the moment for $9.99. There is a print version coming. If it follows the other products in the line, it will be $19.99 for a combination of the print book and the PDF. So it's not a bad deal for what you get. But do I recommend picking up Holy? That's really difficult. And in fact, I think what I would say is if you're interested in this type of material, or if you've seen Lands of Legends presented somewhere else, maybe pick up one of the other products. I think the Mundane was just done brilliantly with a couple of issues. And see if you like it. And from there, maybe decide if you want to pick up something like Holy, where the presentation is a lot more exotic and it can be difficult to get into. I just find that it makes it inaccessible for me, and it might be for you as well. And it hurts me to say that because there's so much good content in Lands of Legends Holy that you can use to do some really good adventuring. It's just that is it worth the headache to get to it? I think next week I'm going to review my second Old School Renaissance game because I picked up the PDFs for the advanced rules of Old School Essentials. Until then, happy playing, everyone.